Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to The Mixer, the segment on this channel where I give you guys all sorts of detailed information from all walks of life, cultural tidbits and food, traveling, animals, sports, you name it, I got it, this is what The Mixer is for. It mixes different things from different pieces of, the world and just brings them all together in one huge playlist for you guys, Coming up on, I think, 200 videos or so, more or less, even though I've been remaking some of them lately. Today is also one of those, I have talked about this topic before in the past, but I'm going to redo that video and give you guys a little bit more detail, It's going to be a remake and also kind of like a reboot because I'm going to be talking about something a little bit different, but also getting a little bit into that older video there. I'm even wearing the same shirt that I was, For some reason, I have talked very, very little on YouTube about astronomy and outer space in general, because I am a big fan of it. I admire space so much. Ever since I was a kid, I've been in love with celestial bodies and studying about them in science class. Always been a huge fan. So for some reason, I actually wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid, but unfortunately life took me in a different path and I never got the chance to study for it, but I'm still fascinated by it today, I like sometimes to just think to myself while I stare at the stars at night here, in the sky, thinking about what could be out there in the vast reaches of our own universe, because we have explored so little of it, and as far as science knows, the universe is infinite, so it can literally go on in any direction, go on forever, and you could never actually see all of it, much less map it out. But for many years, NASA employed the use of the Hubble Space Telescope, which was a way for us to see into the outer recesses of the universe, and take photos and bring back, kind of like these photographic samples of what was out there. And the images were always very good, always very clear, but after so many years and decades of using it, it started to become a little bit obsolete, right? And that is what I imagine to have been the line of thought for NASA to go and create a whole new piece of technology, which is called the James Webb Space Telescope, And this here was a groundbreaking achievement in astronomy because it has given us the chance to see the universe in ways we could never have imagined before, everything that we know about the universe, what's out there, supernovas and nebulas, black holes and clusters of galaxies and other potential life and other planets, and stars, we have seen that now tenfold thanks to this new piece of technology. Now recently NASA divulged 5 photos that were taken using this telescope, and they showed the universe in a large scope now and kind of brought things that are so many light years away closer to us. I'm going to explain now what these 5 images are, what they show, and actually display them here for you guys to see, just in case you missed it, right? And I'm going to be leaving a link in the description of this video for you guys to go to the NASA website and see the photos in the full 4K HD composite full screen on your computer or phone, tablet, wherever the hell you're watching this video, right? But please watch it to the end because I'm going to explain to you guys how it works, right? So now we have been given a whole new outlook now, because there are a few photos that show an entire nebula with mountains and valleys, and overlooking different stars in the distance. It brought a distant galaxy closer to us and showing a lot of different galaxies and star clusters in one. It showed us the process of a star dying, possibly becoming a supernova. So many incredible things that we are seeing with these photos now, starting with the very first one, which is called S-Max 0723. I'm sorry if I mispronounced any of these, but I'm not an astronaut, so that's the way that I see them. I see it and I read it the way it is, right? So it gives us the deepest and most sharpest infrared image of a distant galaxy so far, which brings it to about 12.5 hours away from us now, so it seems like it's much closer than it actually really is. And so for somebody standing on the planet and looking up, the field of view for this new color composite image is about like multiple exposures of 2 hours long, so it's a composite of different images. So it's pretty much like approximately the size of a grain of sand held at arm's length from you, so it looks like it's really close, but it's actually much farther away than it is. And the deep field uses this lensing galaxy cluster, to scratch just the surface of the capability of this new telescope. So now it's going to be studying much more and bringing back images from cosmic time, but this was the first one, and I'm going to show you guys a photo of it now. Pretty impressive, huh? Even if you're not a fan of space, man, that definitely made your jaw drop, and it's only gonna get better from here. Because next we have WASP 96b, which is a spectrum, okay? The way that this works is that it's a hot, puffy planet outside of our solar system, and it actually gives us a signature of water, you know, along with evidence of haze and clouds that actually previous studies of this planet didn't even detect. So this new telescope is allowing us to see things that we already knew existed, but in a whole different light, you know? And also, there was the first detection of water on this exoplanet that actually sets out to study other planets, you know, and it kind of gives us an understanding of what other planetary atmospheres are made of. So, and because there's water, there might just be a clear indication that this planet houses life to some degree, whether it's plants, animals, or other intelligent beings, we don't know yet, but that's essentially how this one is going to work. You know, that is just a hypothesis that scientists are coming up with right now. And let's take a look at this spectrum right here. You gotta admit, that's cool, man. Even if you're not into this kind of thing, you gotta admit that is the coolest thing you have ever seen, man. And it just gets even cooler, you know, because now we have the Southern Ring Nebula, which is an expanding cloud of gas that surrounds a dying star about 2,000 light years away from us right now. And this is actually the infrared eyes brought to us a dying star for the first time ever in full view. So we are seeing what could possibly become a supernova right before our eyes, you know, although at this point it probably already happened already, you know, because it's already in the deep recesses of space, you know. So from birth to death as a planetary nebula, this can actually explore the expelling shells of this star, you know, of dust and gas of an aging star that might one day become, you know, an entirely new star or a planet, or it might become a supernova, collapse onto itself, and eventually become a black hole. Supermassive black holes are the scariest thing in the universe, you know, and every supermassive black hole starts off like usually when a very large star collapses into itself and goes supernova, it can already create a massive black hole, you know. I do believe that it's black hole, massive black hole, and supermassive black hole, and those are the worst ones. There's actually a theory that there's a black hole in the center of our own galaxy, and that's why it spins in a spiral, but that's just a theory. So let's take a look at the photo of the nebula right now. I will never not be marveled by this, man. I'm probably gonna watch my own video several times after I upload it because it's just gonna look so good. Next, we have Stephan's Quintet, you know, which is a compact group of galaxies located in the Pegasus constellation, which is pretty damn far away in case you guys haven't noticed, you know. It actually pierces through a shroud of dust surrounding the center of one galaxy to reveal the velocity and the composition overall of gas near what I just said, the supermassive black hole close to it, you know. So scientists can now get, and we can also get a very rare look at this, you know, how interacting galaxies are actually triggering star formations within each other, you know, and how the gas in said galaxies are being disturbed. So it gives us very unprecedented detail about how this works, man, you know, and we might just be seeing for the first time how a black hole works and how it sucks in things that aren't like, how it sucks in everything, including light itself. Of course, I'm not expecting to see a photo of a black hole, just like a black smudge in the center of space there, you know, or a video of something getting sucked in, but it is still very incredible, man. It is still very incredible, and in my opinion, these things are just, one is just as incredible as the other, you know, but of course, the next one, which is the last and final fifth one, is the best one in my opinion. But before that, let's take a look at the Quintet right here. And now last but certainly not least, not in the slightest manner, you know, I didn't really put them in order of best to worst. I'm just reading it directly from the article here, you know, so I can put them in the order that they're already listed in. We now have the Carina Nebula, which is just incredible, man. It shows us these huge, just breathtaking cosmic cliffs in the distance looking like mountains, you know. Of course, space doesn't have mountains, it's just a nebula, but when you look at it, it really looks like you're on Earth. I'm looking beyond the mountain range to the stars behind it, you know. It is just unprecedented territory for us, you know, and It actually unveils the earliest rapid phases of star formation that were previously hidden to us, you know, and scientists as a whole. So this right now is the photo that's going viral on Twitter. This is the one that most is like impressing people all over the damn place, all over the world, even if you're not into astronomy. So many people are retweeting and liking and talking about it, you know. So, and looking at this star forming region in the southern constellation of Carina, it actually shows us newly forming stars, and we can actually study the gas and the dust that makes them, you know. And sorry about that, my neighbor came home, so now the dogs started barking. Now they're outside, so hopefully I can get through this in silence. But anyway, so like I was saying, right, from the nebula, it allows us to see newly forming stars, and also study the gas and dust that makes them, you know, which is completely and absolutely thrilling, because it gives us this view of space in this specific region that we have never seen before. We know what nebulas are, we know how they work and what forms them, but actually seeing it now kind of in person, because it's so close, you know, it just gives us a whole new view of how it works, man, you know. And I'm gonna show you guys now possibly the most famous photo from this new telescope, which is the Carina Nebula. And that's it for the photos, guys. That is it for the pictures, and now I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. You know, this partnership here was with the ESA, or the European Space Agency, and also the CSA, which is the Canadian Space Agency, and it gives us such a deep infrared look at our galaxy that now questions that we have had for years can be answered if we just know where to look and how to analyze them, you know. And giving us a deep look into star birth, you know, and death, and how they really work is just groundbreaking territory in astronomy and science as a whole, you know. So, and they are just getting started. This is the beginning of a beautiful partnership that we can expect will generate so many more amazing images in the future, maybe even videos, you know, live streams and footage actually showing how it works when there are more deep space expeditions. And it's really crazy because one little telescope functions so well in a way that allows us to look at something that is literally right next door, man, you know. The universe is huge, and Earth is just one tiny speck of dust in the ever-expanding universe, but showing us something that seems to be so close, and it's actually really far away. We're talking about thousands of light years away, but this telescope zooms in and brings the images close to us, so it makes it look like these goddamn motorcycle assholes will never die, you know. That's what it makes it look like. But anyway, it brings it in a way that makes it look so close by. We look at the moon sometimes and it seems so close that we can just fly there with a commercial jet, but it's actually several thousand miles away, and it takes a very long time to go to and back, you know. So this to me bridges the gap between space theory and exploration itself, you know. So like if the scientists are excited, then the fans are as well, you know. So, or rather, maybe it's the opposite, right? If we as consumers are excited, imagine the scientists and researchers and what's with my tongue today? The scientists and researchers who actually dedicate their lives to studying this, you know. I have always been fascinated by space, man. Always have been, you know. So I just think it's really cool, the idea of imagining that there could be life somewhere else out there, you know. I always enjoyed studying this back in middle school and high school as well, you know, in science class. But I distinctly remember my middle school curriculum having much more dedicated to this in our science books, you know, and always studying about, you know, how Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin went to the moon, you know. And there are conspiracy theories that they actually didn't go, but I actually am in favor that they did, you know. I might be talking about that later in a video covering that hoax there, but if it was a hoax or not. Spoiler alert, I don't think it was, but I'm going to give you guys cold, solid, hard evidence, you know, so don't even worry about that. And our solar system, the planets that we have and their corresponding moons, you know, like it's amazing when you see a photo, you know, of it just there and how it looks so big and mighty and powerful, you know. And recently there was a phenomenon called the red moon, which a lot of people were able to photograph, and something that's actually really cool is how Mars was actually visible from Earth, you know, right behind the moon. Here from my window I saw the nice little red speck, you know, and that was Mars, man, the red planet, which I saw for the first time with the naked eye, and that to me is incredible, you know. It's so simple, so easy to do, and yet so amazing to me, you know. That moment there represented more to me than seeing a photo of it, even from this telescope, you know. And I live in the interior of Sao Paulo, in a small city, so there's not a lot of pollution. So at night, depending on how clear the sky is, you can actually see a lot of stars in the sky. I love to gaze at that and just wonder, you know, what the hell is out there? Are we really alone in the universe? You know, what else lies in the universe there beyond the reach of my own eyesight, you know? Looking at stars and imagining which ones are planets and entire galaxies like one of the photos showed, you know, my mind just wanders when I think about this, man, you know. And just because I'm feeling really generous, I'm gonna show you guys now a series of different photos revolving space and planets and stuff, not necessarily with this telescope, but just photos in general because I want to. Yeah, man, I know. A lot better than the first video, huh? Just when I remake stuff, I input more details, man. I put photos and videos and stuff. Videos are gonna be tough about space. I just prefer to show you guys photos here. It's a little easier. But anyway, so now, as fascinated as I am with space, it does also scare me a lot, you know? Movies like Apollo 13 really upped the scare factor, you know, because of course it's just a fictional found footage movie, you know, about aliens in the moon, but still, man, the thought of being out in space isolated, you know, and if anything goes wrong, knowing that you can't find help, you know, you're on your own out there, you know, and like if you start, I don't know, if you're floating into the outer reaches of space, you're going to maybe get lost there. If you are on the International Space Station and exploring outside of it, you know, doing the spacewalk, I don't know, your harness disconnects and you go flying, you're going to be floating out there for the rest of your life until you die, man, you know, because in space there's no oxygen, there's no food, water, there's no sound, you know, there's no gravity. It's really just, to me, it's terrifying, you know. It's the thought of anything going wrong here, you know. We have seen instances of things going wrong before you even make it there, like in the Challenger disaster in the 80s, you know, which just, they didn't even get to the atmosphere and it already blew up, man, the space shuttle. So, and things can go wrong. There was a shuttle that, I do believe it was Columbia, that disintegrated upon re-entry, you know, so they went to space, it was okay, but when they came back, they all died. So it's really hard to imagine, man. It's years of studying and engineering, you know, and one little thing, maybe one screw comes loose and the whole thing just goes up in flames, literally, you know. So now, things that scare me in the universe are the existence of black holes, for example, in quasars, supernovas themselves, you know. I don't think a study has been conducted about this, but I'm pretty sure that if somebody gets close to a supernova, you're not going to live to tell the tale, you know. And even more so if that supernova becomes a black hole, you know. A concept that was actually played around with in the movie Treasure Planet, you know, that animated Disney movie, you know. And I think it's pretty common because a supernova is a really big star, like a gas giant, let's say, collapsing into itself and forming a black hole. And by that point, it's way too late to stop it, you know. There are supermassive black holes in the universe which are really scary. I did mention quasars, which are these enormous exploding balls of gas way in the distance, you know. They are huge and we have never seen one up close. Maybe, just maybe the James Webb Space Telescope can bring that a little bit closer to us, but it's just scary to imagine something that is just, it's like, it's so much worse. It's hundreds of times worse than an atom or nuclear bomb, man. You know, it's freaking crazy how these things work, you know. And of course, just being lost out there in the vastness of space, you know, just makes me shiver. It's like my fear of the ocean that I talked about on this video here, but I am much more fascinated with space than I am of the oceans. I am less afraid of space than of the oceans, you know. So if I ever was given the chance to do a commercial, if I'm like a millionaire or billionaire and I am given the chance to, you know, fly up there on a commercial flight with other tourists or something, that would be amazing, but I would still be really scared. I would still be really frightened of it. That goes without saying. I don't know, man, I just love space so much. The thought of stars, how each star could represent something, how there could be life on other planets and different galaxies, multiverses, you know, parallel universes where we exist on a different spectrum, a different plane of existence, you know, and how a different galaxy could be just like ours with human life as well, or just life in general, intelligent life, you know. You see how far the rabbit hole goes? Like I could make an entire spin-off series just talking about this, you know. In fact, maybe I will, you know, in the next batch of videos. But now, I just wanted to share you guys my love for space and celestial bodies and how at one point in my life when I was younger, I wanted to get more into astronomy and go to college and study it. It didn't happen. Maybe in the future, maybe not. That's not very likely today, but I'm okay. I'm very happy with my job, you know, the opportunities that I've been given. So, but I just like to study about it for fun, watch movies and documentaries, you know. I saw this Korean drama recently that was about this, you know, space exploration. I might review it in the future, so stick around for that. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm sweating. That was a really good video. So if you guys happen to like it, please go ahead and give it a like, and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, might as well hit the notification bell too to know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good. This is Chazzy signing out for now. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Blast off that outro screen.